BSI in Busan has been below 100. A BSI above 100 indicates a positive outlook, while below 100 indicates a negative outlook. By business sector, indices for sales, operating profit, facility investment, and financial conditions all fell below 100. In international news, Australia has initiated a groundbreaking program offering treatment to babies with peanut allergies to build their immunity. Under supervision from selected pediatric hospitals, eligible infants will receive gradually increasing doses of peanut powder daily for at least 2 years. This approach, known as oral immunotherapy, has shown promise in clinical trials and is now being adopted as a national care model. And now taking a quick look at the weather here. Busan is currently under a heat wave warning with the mercury reading between 31 and 33 degrees Celsius depending on the region. Afternoon highs today is forecast to peak around 34 with the feel-like temperature around 35. Infants, the elderly, and people with chronic illnesses are advised against going out, especially during the hottest hours of 2 to 5 p.m. And that'll have to do it for this hour's news. Thank you for joining us. You're listening to BeFM Busan영어방송.
Your best choice. BeFM 부산영어방송.
Coming up next is 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. BeFM 부산영어방송.
It's not always easy to decide if you should stay home from work when you have a sore throat, fever, or cough. If you're a parent, it can be hard to decide whether to send your child to school when they're feeling sick. If it's an important day, you might be tempted to say, tough it out. Pushing through symptoms when you're sick makes it harder for your body to get better. But you also need to remember that when you're around others when you're ill, you could get someone else sick. Staying home can protect others while also giving you a chance to recover. Today, we'll talk about tips for sick days when you're feeling sick. It's Wednesday, July 31st, 2024. My name is Nick, and this is 2 p.m. Reboot. Let's get it started. And you just listened to Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue. Now, when this song was first released in 1985, it peaked at number 89 in the US. In 1991, a new version was released as Home Sweet Home 91, which actually made it to number 37. Now, Home Sweet Home was the last song Motley Crue played on their final tour. They performed it as the encore at the last stop, their December 31st, 2015 concert in Los Angeles, the city where they actually got their start. They made a big deal about this really big being their last tour, and with a press conference where they signed an agreement supposedly binding them. Apparently, though, they found a loophole. In 2022, they returned to the stage, touring with Def Leppard. A great music, and there is a lot of it to come. Well, hello there, everybody. My name is Nick, and I am filling in for Casey temporarily for a few days while he's away. Come and say hello. We've got Chae Sung-nim messaging in saying, "What a surprise! Nick, why are you hosting the show? Glad to hear your voice." Well, thank you for messaging in. It's lovely to see you messaging. Casey's just away for a few days, so I'm filling in while he's gone. But don't worry, the show is in good hands. Message in anytime. Come communicate with me on this fantastic show. Now, we are live in the studio in Busan on Wednesday this afternoon. Welcome to the program. You're listening to us on BeFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Dongguan and Doksan areas. You can also listen in Seoul at TBS EFM 101.3 FM, GFN Gwangju 98.7 FM. The show is now also being streamed on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, then search BeFM or Busan영어방송. However, due to music copyright issues, YouTubers can't listen to the music, unfortunately. The music is going to be muted while the songs are playing, but if you want to, you can listen on the smartphone through the app or just listen to radio as well. During the song break, we also we let you know what this song is, so you can just go and research it yourself if you like. Now I'm going to tell you what's coming up in today's show. In hour one, we have Hot Off the Press. You can check out the newest, hottest tracks from the world of music. And then Jimmy will be here for All Around Busan. Jimmy's going to take the time to introduce the various dongs in the Busan 16 districts. And if 1 hour wasn't enough for you, we've got hour two as well. There's Daily List. There's a list for everything, and we'll find them all. Daily List covers all the lists from the best to the worst. And today's topic is tips for sick days. I know a lot of people are sick, especially as it's really hot. So we've got a lot of tips for you. And then following that, Inside Korea, where we find out about important updates on the country in which we live. A few of the news articles we'll be going over are hand, foot and mouth disease cases in Korea are surging to a record high. There's also foreign tourist arrivals in Korea reaching 96% of pre-pandemic levels in June. And also the Paris Olympics have been drawing backlash from South Korean netizens over alleged discrimination. Lots coming your way, and just to keep your brains and minds stimulated for the rest of the show, I'm going to ask you today's question of the day. 오늘의 토픽입니다. Here's the question. Listen up and message in if you have an opinion. Do you usually stay home when you're sick? Do you usually stay home when you're sick? 아플 때 주로 집에서 쉬나요? Or do you go out and just fight through it and party anyway? Let me know. I definitely myself like to stay home when I'm sick. I don't want to do anything when I'm sick. And I'm sure most people can empathize. Send in your answers. You can send the pound 9050 샵 9050, which will cost you 101. A Kakao Talk message. Just search for BeFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean. Add us and send us messages for free. Or if you don't like that, send us a smartphone app message. Search for BeFM or 부산영어방송 in any app store. You can listen to our programs and leave us comments after logging in. Lots of ways you can participate, so there's no excuse. Come along and say hi, and we're going to get this show on the road. We'll be right back with Hot Off the Press after this song. This is Some People by Cliff Richard. The time is now 2:18 in the afternoon. My name is Nick and you're listening to 2 p.m. Reboot. The last song that we listened to was Some People by Cliff Richard. And I must say, I've only been doing this show for about 15 minutes, but I'm loving the music selection already. 저는 원래 oldies but goldies 팬이거든요. I love the old music. Anything from pre-2000s, pre-90s. I'm a huge fan. I like modern music too, but something about 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s music just has a bit of magic to them, at least personally for me. So I can tell I'm going to love the rest of this show. And lucky me, it's now time for a segment called Hot Off the Press. So from Monday to Friday, we bring the newest, hottest tracks from the world of music. 2 of them, in fact. A lot of songs are released every week and we'll choose the best ones and introduce them to you. So I think it's important to have a bit of mix of old music and some modern great music too. So the first song that we're going to cover is Irish Goodbye by Casey Musgraves. Now, Casey Musgraves dropped her wellness-themed folk pop collection, Deeper Well, in March. Next week, she'll release a deluxe expanded edition of the album called Naturally Deeper Into the Well. It contains 7 previously unreleased songs, one of which closing track is Irish Goodbye. Now, that term is used for someone who maybe leaves a party or an event without saying goodbye to anyone, and it's usually used in jest in a light-hearted manner. You know, usually when you say Irish something, it usually has a different meaning, a slightly different connotation. Like, if you say Irish coffee, it's not just coffee, there's a little bit of alcohol in there. So here an Irish goodbye is when you leave without saying goodbye. And sometimes, you know, you want to leave a party quietly, right? You just want to slip away unnoticed. Well, that's the first song that we're going to be covering. The second song is called Guy for That by Post Malone, and this is featuring Luke Combs. A lot of us are very familiar with Post Malone. Now, we're a few short weeks away from the release of his country album, F1 Trillion, and a pattern is starting to emerge. On each of the singles that he's released so far, Post Malone teams up with an established country hitmaker. He trades verses over jaunty instrumentation and belting out big melodies. In the Guy for That video, Malone and Combs are accidentally transported to Nashville while using a porta-potty restroom. Now, the pair put on a show for the crowd in the city's downtown. You know what a porta-potty is, right? It's one of those toilets that you see in a festival. 페스티벌에서 원래 그런 공용 화장실이 있잖아요. porta-potty라고 합니다. port는 이 portable의 줄임말이죠. porta-potty. And apparently in this song it's a time machine, so it transports you to somewhere else. Very interesting. So these are the 2 songs that we're going to cover for Hot Off the Press. We're going to listen to Irish Goodbye by Casey Musgraves and Guy for That by Post Malone. Welcome back. We just listened to two songs from Hot Off the Press, and those were Irish Goodbye by Casey Musgraves and Guy for That by Post Malone. And in case anyone was confused, Casey can be both a man's name and a lady's name. You know, the original host here is called Casey, but this singer is also called Casey as well. And the song was called Irish Goodbye. It kind of makes you... It made me a little bit sad because she was saying how could you give me an Irish goodbye, you know, how could you not say goodbye and leave me? 인사를 안 하고 어떻게 갈 수 있냐 그런 의미죠. It was quite sad, I thought. But two great songs nonetheless. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to 2 p.m. Reboot. I'm your host, Nick. And I want to restate or re-ask today's text topic. Do you usually stay home when you're sick? 아플 때 주로 집에서 쉬나요? Or do you go out and do stuff? We've got some messages coming in. Let's take a look here. Let's have a look. Okay, we've got Chae Sung-nim saying, I don't really get sick since I started exercising for a long time, but if I'm sick, I feel like I can't be bothered and hang out in the house. That's awesome. So exercise, you're saying, is a great way to stay healthy. I was going to say unsick. A great way to stay healthy. I totally agree with you. And I also agree with you. I just can't be bothered to leave the house, right? I just want to stay home like a house hermit, right? I totally feel you. Thanks for your message. We also have a message from 1191번님 saying 오랜만에 메시지를 보냅니다. 근데 그동안 진행자 분이 바뀌셨나요? 아니면 휴가이신가요? 낯익은 목소리예요. 4시부터 6시까지 진행하셨던 분이죠? 어쨌든 반갑습니다. 가장 더운 시간인지라서 더 덥네요. 모두 건강 조심하세요. Thank you very much. I remember your phone number, my friend. 1191번님. Thanks for messaging in again for the first time in a long time. And I'm glad you remembered when I used to do my show. Welcome to the show, my friend. It's wonderful to see you. You can all send your answers to this text topic or just drop in and say hi. Just send them to pound 9050, 샵 9050, which will cost you 101. Kakao message, you just search for BeFM or Busan영어방송 in Korean, add us and send us messages for free. There's also a smartphone app. You can search BeFM or 부산영어방송 at any app store. You can listen to our programs and leave us comments after logging in. Remember, our music will not be played through YouTube, but if you do want to listen to music, just go onto the radio or maybe download the app, and there are lots of ways to listen. The next song is going to be a banger. One of my favorites personally. This is She's Electric by Oasis. The time is now 2:32 in the afternoon. You're listening to 2 p.m. Reboot. I'm your temporary host, Nick. And if you're looking at the screen, we have a very familiar guest in the studio, a great friend of mine. It's Jimmy.
Woohoo, yes.
How you doing?
Jimmy in the building.
How you doing, man?
Doing good as always. I mean, but especially though, it's like the vacation season here. So there was a terrible traffic.
Oh, tell me about it. Is that why you were late today?
Yeah. I was right on time. Bro.
Right on time.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. You know what, though? This week, because I'm free in lunchtime usually, so I was going to the beach and there were so many cars. You know, it was, 아니, 오후 1시, 2시인데 왜 이렇게 사람이 많아? 생각하고 있었는데, and then my wife said, it's it's vacation season.
Right.
So everyone is taking a week off for this week.
Why didn't you call me up? I should have went there and played with you.
But maybe next week it'll be a bit quieter. But if you're listening and you're taking your vacation, have a wonderful time. Maybe find the quickest routes on the navigation to get to where you want to go faster.
For sure.
So anyway, Jimmy, you're in the building for a segment called All Around Busan.
Right.
What's it about?
This segment is about I get to go to various neighborhoods. I mean, we have 16 districts here in Busan. And every week I go to various neighborhood. And then we get to talk about what this neighborhood is all about and the favorite food in that specific area itself. And then we just get to talk about it.
I love it because all of the segments that we've done together, it's always been about traveling in the city. And
right.
You are probably the resident expert on Busan. And he knows where to go. He told me where to go car shopping. Not that I frequently go, but he told me the best place. So if you want advice on Busan, trust Jimmy.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Yeah.
So there's a lot to explore in Busan.
Sure.
Where are we going today?
Well, I'm sure you are also familiar with this Dong neighborhood itself. I'm taking you to Namgu Yongdang-dong area today.
Oh, that's a long name.
Yeah, Yongdang-dong. Have you ever heard of it?
I know Namgu.
Yeah, Namgu.
And but Yongdang-dong, 잘 모르겠어요. Maybe if I see pictures or if I go there, I'll know it.
But you know Igide, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this Namgu area is combined with Yongho-dong. And right next to it, that's Yongdang-dong area.
Oh, so there's Igide, Yongho-dong,
right,
and then Yongdang-dong.
So it's really, really hard to like divide because it's in the same district.
Okay.
And it's well connected together.
Yeah.
So some particular area we say, oh, this is Yongho-dong. But when you look into the address, it's actually Yongdang-dong.
Interesting. So I've been to that area a few times.
Of course.
But when I go there, I only really go to Igide. Igide Park, right? You know, it's got the beautiful like 산책로. You know, it's beautiful like cliff sides and scenery. But I didn't know Yongdang-dong was a place that people go to.
For sure. I mean, this neighborhood actually highlights the beautiful Igide Coastal Walk, as what you've just mentioned. People actually go there to take a walk or even go on a little hike because it's kind of steep. And which offers the stunning views of the coastline. And it's actually a popular spot because there's also like observatory deck there. So many people actually go there to take a photo and get some fresh air. Oh,
okay then. So it kind of is related to Igide and the kind of beautiful scenery, good places to walk. So the major attractions in Yongdang-dong, ones that we shouldn't miss.
Oh, you've just said it. I've just talked about it. It's Igide Coastal Walk line. So, this scenic coastal trail is a haven for nature lovers and hikers. And even for myself, I actually go there in time to time because I usually go to Changsan area.
Right.
For an exercise or just take a walk.
Do you still go every morning?
Yeah. Recently, I restarted.
너무 덥지 않아요? 너무 덥지 않아요?
Right.
How do you survive? You go before the sun rises?
Yeah, I go there like really, really early in the morning.
That's the secret. You got to go before the sun rises because it's so hot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once I get little like tired of just going to the same location, then I just go to Igide area.
Okay.
I drive there and then, I just park my car at the parking lot and then I just start walking around.
There are lots of small places to park.
Sure. So the trail actually provides like perfect vantage points for panoramic views and seas. And it's kind of a long walk if you're willing to go on a full circle. But then as you know, like what I love about Busan and Korea, there are some resting spots in every places.
Yeah, 쉼터.
So 쉼터 맞아요.
Yeah.
So you can just take a rest.
That's great. If you're looking at YouTube Live right now, 지금 유튜브 라이브를 보고 계시다면 there's a picture which our producer has kindly highlighted of the area of Yongdang-dong. You can see on the right side is like Igide, right?
Right.
And then it's more on the left side.
True.
Oh, so it's closer towards the harbor.
It is.
Oh.
It's also walking distance too. So,
Okay.
I mean, as what we just talked, like Yongdong and Yongdang-dong, it's like right connected to each other. So
Yeah.
you sometimes get confused. Oh,
Brilliant.
am I in Yongdong or Yongdang-dong?
Just look at your navigation, it will tell you.
Right.
So what other attractions can we participate in Yongdang-dong?
Yeah, it's actually in it. There is a place named 신선대. This historic site is like steeped in legend and natural beauty. According to the local lore, 신선대 is where like ancient Taoist hermits believed in possesses like supernatural powers. So like long time ago, it's kind of related to those Korean history.
Like 무당 kind of thing?
그렇죠. 그 가서 뭐 신사에 가서 이렇게 기도도 드리고 they like pray and so yeah, this is 신선대 area. It's really a cool place for people to just stop by and it provides a good relaxation spot.
That's really cool. And I guess you can see like the mystical,
Yeah.
historical
Right.
kind of feelings.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Now you've been there yourself, right?
Yeah.
What are your personal experiences?
Well,
Be
just
honest.
let me be honest, of course. This area is really a cool place for me, especially because that's the location where I first ride my motorbike.
You ride a motorbike?
Yeah.
Oh, 멋지다. 몰랐어.
Yeah, so like here, to me, it's kind of like really dangerous just to like drive around in Haeundae area because it's always fully packed.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of wanted to find somewhere a little bit like more emptier than here. So I just seem to drive all the way to Igide area.
Ah, 좋겠다. You know, you get to kind of just feel the breeze run through your head. Oh, you wear helmets, of course,
Yeah,
but feel the
yeah.
breeze. I guess the breeze can't run anywhere,
Yeah,
can it?
of course.
But it still feels good.
Sure.
I'm sure. And it's safe because it's like one road. Like
Yeah, it's a one road.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's awesome.
And yeah, when I go on the peak, I just park my bike and then just get a cup of coffee there and just take some rest and then come back home.
Wow, that's awesome. You know, I feel like I have to go and see this now myself.
Sure.
Yeah. It seems like a place you can go. In the summertime, would you recommend going in the daytime? Is there shade from the trees, or is it more of an evening and morning thing?
Honest answer, yes. Early morning and evening would be the perfect.
Yeah.
And there is also a 별빛 공원, Starlight Park.
Okay.
It's also like right next to Yongdong and Yongdang area.
Okay.
It's right in between the harbor area.
Yeah.
And it's newly opened not that long ago. So you can just go. Like what I love about that park is you can just see the Gwangan Bridge.
Yeah.
Like right underneath of it.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it when you see the Gwangan-daegyo from different points. It's good
Right.
seeing it from the beach, but when
Sure.
you see it from behind or the
Yeah,
side.
from the
it's so
side
cool.
and behind. So
Yeah.
especially people who's into photography,
Yeah.
they can just go when during the sunset time. Would be perfect.
There's your recommendation, everybody, right there.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And there's a beautiful picture as well
Sure.
on the screen.
That's the area.
Now, in a minute or in a couple of minutes, I do want to move on to the food because, you know, you have to eat. You know, what do they say? 금강산도 식후경.
Oh,
You have to
맞아요,
eat if you want to
맞아요.
hike. Before that, though, I believe we split into two parts, do we not?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a little song break and then we'll be right back. This is Happy Day by Blink. That was Happy Day by Blink, welcoming you back to 2 p.m. Reboot. I'm your host, Nick, and we're in the middle of All Around Busan, a segment with our Busan expert, Jimmy. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
If you're listening, welcome back, everybody. You can message in at any time to pound 9050, sharp 9050, or a KakaoTalk or YouTube live message. Now, we are in the middle of talking about Yongdang-dong.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a place very close to Igide, very close to Yongdang-dong.
Right.
People confuse the two, Yongdang and Yongdang-dong.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Yongdang-dong, lots of places to see, great place to hike, and we were just about to move on to the food.
Like Yongdang-dong area, of course, it's really, really popular for its seafood too.
Yeah.
Because, of course, it's like nearby the harbor and sea. But whenever I go to this area, I always stop by this one local kalguksu restaurant.
칼국수.
And they also sell like kimbap and some kind of, tteokbokki menus too. So, yeah, this place, I cannot really say the name of the place, but then I'm sure for those of you who goes to this area often knows where I'm talking about.
You know, something about when you're hiking.
Yeah.
When you finish the hike, for some reason, I want nothing more than like either noodles, like guksu, kalguksu,
Naengmyeon.
or like pajeon.
Right.
These traditional Korean foods, they just suit so well. So tell us a bit more about kalguksu.
Yeah, for those of you who are not really familiar with what kalguksu is, it's actually a thin, wet flour noodles served in a rich, savory broth. And 칼국수는 손으로 직접 다 자르거든요.
Right,
it's
that's
like
the name.
Yeah.
칼국수.
맞아요. Hand cut, like handmade noodles, and often accompanied by a variety of vegetables and seafood or meat. But some people enjoys it with like just a plain kalguksu itself.
Yeah.
And others, they put a lot of sauce in it to make it
Right.
more spicy.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, which kalguksu do you go for?
For me, honestly, without any sauce, it's a little bit on the blander side.
Right.
So I always get 비빔. 무조건 비빔.
Okay.
뭐든지 국수라면 비빔.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe my taste buds are ruined from lots of spicy and salty food, but something about spicy food on a hot day, it makes you kind of sweat.
Right.
좀 아프기도 하고.
맞아요.
It's I like it. What about you?
Yeah. These days, though, I'm definitely on bibimbap side too. But then I kind of now there's a new menu. It's all mixed up together, like 물비빔.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I go for that one.
I did try that, and I'm not a huge fan.
Okay.
Because it kind of takes away the spice.
True.
And then it kind of tastes 조금 밍밍해.
Yeah. But I'm not really a huge fan of having spicy food either.
You're not a spicy food eater?
No.
Really?
No.
didn't know
I
that.
sweat like too much.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, up to the certain level, I don't mind.
Yeah.
But if it's like
Yeah.
hot, then
Okay.
I don't even want to touch
Fair
it.
enough. Well,
Right.
it's all personal opinion. There's no
True.
right or wrong answer.
True.
So you can either have, can have a different type of kalguksu. You can have it with noodles, with soup, or with spicy sauce.
Right.
And always a good complement to kalguksu is kimbap.
Right. And especially we just talked about like Igide Park. Many people, especially like one of the Korean culture, they take like lunchbox whenever they go hiking.
Yeah.
And like one of the best and people's favorite menu is kimbap.
It's so simple and delicious.
Right. So it's one of the local favorite food that it's loved by all people here. And especially like they also have various menus. These days they have like 돈가스 김밥 and like just the original and like other flavors too.
Do you have a what's always your go-to when you get kimbap?
Well, I always stick with the original, but then
Really?
yeah.
Just 단무지,
You're right.
당근.
Right.
No meat, no protein.
No. But sometimes I would go for 돈가스 김밥.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any reason you don't like a lot of things? Is it because it's too spicy sometimes? Or?
That too. Oh, 땡초김밥. I try that sometimes, but if it's too spicy, I cannot actually eat that. So
Fair enough. I have to have some kind of. I mean, 단무지, 당근, 오이 다 맛있긴 한데.
Yeah.
For me, it needs a bit of like protein in there.
Right.
So if they have it, I always get 참땡.
Ah.
참치 plus 땡초.
Okay.
It's so good.
Wow.
It's like I love tuna.
Yeah.
And I love 땡초.
Yeah.
Or what is it? 청양고추, right?
Yeah.
And then you mix them together. It's like the perfect 꿀조합이죠.
That sounds pretty good.
not tried
I
it?
definitely tried 참치 kimbap and 땡초 kimbap separately, but I never ordered 참땡 kimbap. I'm gonna try that today.
Seriously,
Actually.
it'll change your life, man.
All right.
It's so good. It's not as spicy as just 땡초. It's like a nice mix.
Wow.
Yeah.
I should definitely go for it.
Everyone, if you're listening, what is your favorite type of kimbap? Is there any particular type of filling you like in it? I see Mr. Lee Nim saying, "Hi Nick, I'm so glad to see you again. Great to see you here, Mr. Lee. Thanks for coming in here at this time as well." Do you have a favorite type of kimbap? What's your go-to filling? Jimmy likes plain. That sounds so plain.
Yeah.
Jimmy likes plain.
Original.
Or 돈가스. I like chamting. What's your favorite? Everyone tell me. I'm kind of interested in this. So today we've been talking about Yongdang-dong.
Right.
To have a bit of a summary, I guess, it's a place where you can see great things, walk a great trail, eat some great food as well, right? Yeah.
Definitely. So I would just like to say Yongdang-dong is in Busan is a charming neighborhood known for its scenic coastal views and historical sites, and also delicious local food like kimbap and kalguksu.
Exactly. I think I would definitely like to visit here soon. I may go in an evening time.
That's better.
Because I'm not a morning person. I'm not a morning person.
Well, that too. And if we expose ourselves under the sun for too long, it's not good. So
I agree.
Right.
We have a 난데없이님 saying 계란 지단 김밥. What's 지단?
계란을 쫙 펴서 만든.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like without rice?
Right, no.
밥 없이? Is that the one where it's, or is it 계란말이?
No, it's not 계란말이. 지단, maybe
Like a floor?
yeah, on the floor, and then
Yeah.
we just put like all those ingredients on top of it, maybe.
It has rice in it, does
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
That sounds delicious. Eggs in kimbap is also
Yeah,
amazing.
I love
too.
eggs.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. I'll ask PD Nim's favorite one, but he's sitting far away. I know. I'll ask him later. Well, everyone, the time is now at 2:53 in the afternoon. We do have to close up the first half of 2 p.m. Reboot. Jimmy, thanks for coming in. It was great to see you.
All right.
And maybe I'll see you again next week as well.
Definitely. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, see ya. We're going to finish off the first half with a song. We are going to finish. Are we going to finish now? Or should we a little bit of time? We're okay. He's giving me the thumbs up. All right, a little bit more. Jimmy, I'm going to ask you one more question because we have our text topic.
All right.
Can you raise his mic? When you're sick, do you rest at home or do you go out?
Well, it depends how painful I am. But like for the first 2 days, I just rest.
You just rest?
Yeah.
For the first 2 days?
Yeah, for the first 2 days.
Yeah.
It's kind of happened to be that way. But
Yeah.
like first 2 days, I just rest. But then on the third day, I'm like, I cannot do this any longer. I'm just gonna go out no matter what. I just go out.
Right. So you do listen to your body for a couple of days.
Right.
I think that's always important. Yeah. That's our text topic today. So tell us if you stay at home when you're sick or do you go out? 야, 아플 때 주로 집에서 쉬나요? We have Mr. Lee Nim saying 참치 마요. 짱. 참치 mayo is great. I just like to add that little bit of spice in there myself.
Everything spice.
Chamchi mayo is always great, I think. All right, we're really going to end the show, everyone. For the first half, don't go anywhere because we'll be back at 3 very, very soon. This is Willin' by Little Feet.
부산영어방송.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
부산영어 방송에서는 글로벌 허브 도시 부산의 차세대 글로벌 리더들을 위한 청소년 영어 말하기 대회를 개최합니다.
BeFM has organized the English Speech Contest for the next leaders of the global hub city, Busan.
전통이 숨쉬는 문화교육 특구, 동래구의 청소년 홍보대사들이 이야기하는 세계 속의 도시로 발돋움할 동네는 어떤 모습일까요?
From the inspiring stories of the final 10 students of Dongdaegu, one of the representative cities in Busan, we can draw the future of Dongdae as well look forward to the bright future of a global hub city, Busan.
치열한 예선을 거쳐 선발된 최종 10명의 본선 대결, 그리고 참가 학생 모두가 함께 도전하는 팀 대항 퀴즈를 통해 지역 청소년들이 꿈꾸는 동네와 부산의 미래를 그려봅니다.
We invite you to the Dongdaegu English Speech Contest with BeFM, the finals.
8월 24일 오후 2시 부산교육대학교에서 열리는 부산영어방송과 함께하는 동래구 영어 말하기 대회에 여러분의 많은 관심 부탁드립니다.
This event is hosted by Dongdae District Office and organized by BeFM, 부산영어방송.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
That was Anyway by CeeLo Green. And that is actually the first single from The Lady Killer, the Platinum Edition, which is the extended version of American soul singer CeeLo Green's third studio album. Now, the song finds Green recounting his many faults. One of the songwriters, Ricky Reed, said, "It's a little dark. In the co-write, I did a lot of the verse lyric. Then Rivers Cuomo came in with this really sentimental hook, which is kind of the song needed, kind of what the song needed. It needed to balance out. If there's anybody to be sentimental, it's Rivers Cuomo. And if there's anyone to be messed up, it's me." A great song, and I remember listening to CeeLo Green when I was in my teens, when he first came out with some really popular music. It's great to see all of this music continuing. Well, welcome back, everybody. You are listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot. I'm your temporary host, Nick, while Casey is just away for personal issues. I'll be here for a little while, so come and say hello. We've got some people coming in saying hello right now. We've got Lee Kelly Dim saying, "Nick, 웬일이야?" I'm just covering for Casey. Thanks for the warm welcome. 반가라고 하셨네요. Yes, thank you. It's great to see you. It's been a while, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. We've got Choi Sung-nim as well, going back to the kimbap talk that we were doing in the first half with Jimmy, saying 계란말이 김밥 식구들이 좋아합니다. 계란말이 김밥 is so good. But you know, there is that one, I tried it and I wasn't a big fan. It was the one that instead of rice, they had 계란말이. 밥 대신에 계란말이 있었거든요. I wasn't a huge fan. I feel like kimbap needs to have rice, but that's just me. Maybe it's good for people on a diet, so I've heard. Anyway, more messages. We have Red Like Nim saying, "Hi, welcome to the show, Red Like Nim, my friend. Thanks for joining in at this time for this show as well. It's good to see you again as well." Lee Kelly Nim saying, "땡초 kimbap is where it's at." Yes, I was saying this, but I like to have 땡초 mixed with chamchi to make chamteng kimbap. But 땡초 by itself is also good. It's got that nice little kick. We also are going through today's text topic, and today's text topic is, do you usually stay home when you're sick? 아플 때 주로 집에서 쉬나요? We had some different answers coming in already. We have 8181번님 also saying, being sick is the best excuse to binge watch Neteng, the OTT platform. Yes, when you're sick, you can just put on your favorite program and watch for hours, really, eating some good food. You got to take care of your body, and that's a great thing to do. Does anyone do anything similar like this when you're sick, when you stay at home? If you stay at home, do you binge watch TV and television shows? Do you read a book? Or do you just sleep? I know if you're really sick, a lot of people will just sleep. You can send all of your messages to #9050, 샵 9050, which will cost you 101, or a Kakao Talk message. You can also go to BeFM, the Kakao Talk page, search for BeFM or 부산영어방송 in Korean, add us and send us a message. You can also go through the smartphone app, search BeFM, 부산영어방송 in any app stores. You can leave us comments, listen to the program. There's a lot of stuff to get involved with. I'm going to tell you what's coming up in the second half of the show. In hour 2, we've got a segment called Daily List. Now, there is a list for everything, and we're going to find it all. Daily List covers all the lists from the best to the worst. And today's topic is tips for sick days, kind of relating to today's text topic if you stay at home when you're sick. Tips for sick days. We also have Inside Korea, where we find out about important updates on the country in which we live. Some of the stories that we'll be going over are hand, foot and mouth disease cases surging in Korea to record high, as well as foreign tourist arrivals in Korea reaching 96% of pre-pandemic levels in June, followed by Paris Olympic drawing backlash from South Korean netizens over alleged discrimination. There's a lot to listen to for here in the second half. Send us a message, get involved. It's going to be a lot of fun for the next hour or so. We'll be right back with Daily List after our next song. This is I Need You by America. That was I Need You by America. Welcoming you back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. I'm your host, Nick, and we are now in line for Daily List. It's now time for our Daily List. There is a list for everything, and we're going to find them all. So this is a segment where we list some great tips, some great advice for you. And, we were talking, at least earlier today, our topic was about, do you usually rest at home when you're sick? 아플 때 주로 집에서 쉬나요? And if you do, we have some tips for your sick days. These are tips for sick days for today's daily list. Now, when you begin a new job, your company should provide you with information about your sick leave policy. Some places have 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, 1 week, right? You need to learn whether it's paid or unpaid, or whether you have to accrue hours to earn sick leave. You should also know the number of sick days your company provides per year and the best ways to communicate your absence. It's all very important, or you could end up being quite surprised when you try to take a sick day but you're not allowed, or you don't get paid, right? So here are some helpful tips to properly navigate using sick leave. First up, recognize symptoms. Now, if you're unsure about whether you're able to work, you should try to determine the signs of the illness you could be developing. For example, an above normal temperature, that's concrete evidence that you're ill, and it's helpful to make your decision and clearly communicate your condition to your employer. You also need to understand what constitutes a sick day. So, maybe you and your boss have different ideas about what a sick day is. Maybe you think, I've got the sniffles, I want to stay home. But your boss is like, no, you got to come into work. Understand what really constitutes a sick day, and then you won't have a bad time. You need to track your available sick leave as well. So if your workplace provides a limited number of sick days, keep track of how many days you've used and how many you have remaining. You need to know how many days your employer allows per year, or how many sick leave hours you've accrued before taking leave. Some people get sick more than others. Some people don't get sick as often, but if you are sick, those sick days are there for you to use. We have, Lian-nim saying, when I'm sick, I usually sleep. You know what? I think that's probably the best thing you can do. Sleeping gives your body a chance to regenerate and recover quicker, I believe. But watching OTT platforms in your favorite show is also a good option. Another good tip we can give you is request flexible work options. Now, consider requesting to work from home if you can. In some cases, you may have a contagious illness, but feel you can complete some or all of your work successfully. Now, if your workplace allows you to work from home, then you can actually minimize the impact of your illness. And those are great ways that you can really understand your sick days. Now, here are some tips to effectively communicate your absence, because, being sick is one thing, but telling your boss, it's nerve-wracking, right? You got to call them or message them and tell them that you're sick. You don't know how they'll react, so it's quite scary. Just follow these tips to communicate your sick day absence effectively to your team and employer. So first tip I give you is be prompt. Notifying your work as early as possible during an illness, it can allow your co-workers and everyone else to make arrangements to delegate responsibilities. Everyone likes being notified early, not at the last minute. Contact the necessary party, so your boss or the person above you. Identify the best person in your company in case you have an illness or there's an emergency. In some cases, you may need to call human resources and your supervisor. And in other cases, your company maybe just requires one email, which would be super lucky if that's your boss. If that's your company, one email would be really, really nice, I think. It's also good to prepare for your absence if possible. I know it's not always easy, but prepare if you can. Update your supervisor on any tasks, projects, and meetings that need attention and work with them to identify who can cover your responsibilities while you're out. And if possible, give an approximate date when you plan to return. You can also set up an out-of-office email response. You may receive correspondence while you're gone, and this message can notify anyone who needs to communicate with you that you're out of office and who they should contact in your absence. Your message may also provide alternative contact options if it's urgent as well. So if you are ever sick, these are some really good I call them tips, pieces of advice that you can follow to make sure you don't make anyone unhappy and to know with full confidence that you're resting, but you're not getting paid. You are getting paid and you're not annoying anybody. Hopefully, though, you're not sick. I know summer is not the time where everybody gets sick. Maybe this advice, many people might use it when it gets towards winter. We start getting the sniffles, colds come in, 감기도 걸리고. So heed these pieces of advice. Use them when you need to. We're going to take a song break and then we will be back very, very soon. This is Move With You by Jacob Banks. We'll be right back.
You got a brother mesmerized.
We just listened to Move With You by Jacob Banks. Welcome back, everyone. It is the 2 p.m. reboot. The time is now 3:20 in the afternoon. My name is Nick, and I'll be your host for the next 40 minutes or so of this show. It's time for our next segment, Inside Korea. Now, this is a time where we find out all of the important updates about the country we live in. I'm sure many of you read the news, you watch the news, or you maybe watch videos of the news on social media, but there's always something going on around the world, particularly in this country. So what we're going to do here is keep you up to date, get you up to speed on some things that are happening around Korea. We're going to move into our first piece of news, our first Inside Korea. Hand, foot and mouth disease cases in Korea surge to record high. Now, the number of hand, foot and mouth disease cases is surging in Korea at an alarming rate recently, reaching the highest level in at least a decade, according to health officials on Monday. According to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, or KDCA, 78.5 cases per 1,000 outpatients aged 6 years old or younger were reported between July the 14th and 20th, which is higher than the previous weekly record of 77.6 in 2019. The highly contagious viral illness, characterized by a combination of symptoms such as fever, sore throat and mouth sores, as well as a rash on the hands and feet, primarily affects young children. The KDCA said a surge in cases was also observed among those aged between 7 and 18 years old, from close to nil before this summer to 18.2 cases per 1,000 outpatients during the third week of July. After the outbreak in 2019, the disease mostly disappeared during the COVID-19 pandemic, only to reappear rapidly in recent months. A recent surge appears to have been accelerated by immune systems becoming weakened during the pandemic, the disease agency said in a statement. The illness typically begins with a fever, often accompanied by a sore throat. Some children may develop a rash on the soles of their feet and hands, as well as being painful, with blister-like lesions in the mouth, which can make it difficult to consume food and beverages. In rare cases, it can lead to more severe complications, such as viral meningitis. The most common cause of hand, foot, and mouth disease is infection from Coxsackie virus, which can spread quickly through the close personal contact and respiratory droplets, such as coughing and sneezing, the KDCA said. Now, there are no vaccines against hand, foot, and mouth disease, thus it is critical to maintain personal hygiene and pay extra attention to the way of taking care of patients, as said by the KDCA. Now, caregivers of a patient must maintain strict sanitation management by, for example, washing their hands after changing diapers or using separate daily necessities. The KDCA has also advised the public not to send their children, if infected, to daycare centers or schools to prevent an even larger scale outbreak. Particularly, I urge officials at childcare facilities to step up efforts to maintain the standard of hygiene for hands, toys, and many other areas. And this was said by KDCA Commissioner Ji Young-mi. As part of its efforts to keep young children healthy more generally, the KDCA also said it would continue to promote the benefits of vaccinations. Now, in a report released on the same day, the organization said vaccination rates among children in Korea are higher than their peers in Australia, Britain, and the United States. According to the report, 92.9% of Korean 2-year-olds were confirmed in 2023 to have been following the country's immunization schedule against 17 designated diseases. For example, the case of the DTaP vaccine, 94.8% of the 2-year-old Korean children had received the vaccine shots, compared with their counterparts in Australia at 92.3%, Britain at 93.1%, and the United States at 81%. So everyone, this is a big piece of news in Korea. If you have young children or of any age, please take care. Please make every effort to stay clean, wash your hands, and avoid this at all cost. We're going to be back with more news. Before that, we're going to take a song break. This is Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve. That was Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve. Welcoming you all back to 2 p.m. Reboot. We are in the middle of Inside Korea. We just had our first piece of news. We're going to move on to our second piece right here. And it's something a little bit more positive, at least in the eyes of the economy. Foreign tourist arrivals in Korea reached 96% of pre-pandemic levels in June. Now, the number of foreigners visiting Korea recovered to nearly 96% of pre-pandemic levels last month. The state-run tourism promotion agency said this on Monday. Now, Korea welcomed about 1.42 million international tourists in June, marking a 47.5% increase from a year ago, according to the Korea Tourism Organization. The figure is 96% of the 1.48 million foreigners who visited Korea in June 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic. Notably, tourist numbers from the United States and Taiwan exceeded their pre-pandemic levels by 44% and 21.8% respectively. Arrivals from Japan and China reached 91% and 84% of their pre-pandemic figures. Now, China remained the top source of visitors to Korea with 397,000 arrivals in June, followed by Japan with 258,000, the US with 152,000, Taiwan with 144,000, and Hong Kong with 54,000. In the first half of the year, Korea saw 7.7 million foreign visitors, a 73.8% increase from a year ago. The total represents 91% of the visitor count during the first 6 months in 2019. China led the numbers with 2.22 million followers, followed by Japan with 1.43 million, Taiwan with 680,000, and the United States with 640,000. A total of 134 countries saw an increase in the number of visitors to Korea in the first half compared to the same period in 2019. And that's a bit of good news right here. It's always good for the economy, especially after the huge downturn that was COVID. And I'm sure many of you who have walked on the beaches of Haeundae or Gwangali have maybe noticed a lot more, tourists, expats, foreigners roaming the streets. A great thing for the economy of the country. We're going to move on to our next news for Inside Korea. The Paris Olympics has drawn backlash from South Korean netizens over alleged discrimination. The image of the 2024 Paris Olympics has taken a significant hit among South Korean netizens following a series of alleged discriminatory actions by the organizers, which have been widely discussed across various online communities on July the 27th. The controversy began on July the 26th when the official Instagram account of the Paris Olympics posted photos of various national teams arriving by boat on the Seine River during the opening ceremony. The post celebrated the arrival of athletes from 206 participating countries, waving their national flags to the crowds along the riverbank. However, the photo of the South Korean team stood out for its poor quality compared to those of other nations. While athletes from the US, Japan, China and Canada, among others, were clearly visible with their flags in high resolution, the South Korean team's photo was blurry, with indistinguishable faces and barely recognizable flags. This discrepancy sparked outrage, especially since even teams with only a few athletes like Cyprus and Busan had clear and sharp photos. Multiple online communities in South Korea shared side-by-side comparisons of the South Korean team's photo with those of other countries. This incident compounded existing frustrations, as the organizers had previously misidentified the South Korean team as the North Korean team during the ceremony. Now, netizens expressed their anger with comments such as, "Why do they keep doing this to us?" and calling us North Korea was definitely intentional. Further aggravating the situation was a typo in a congratulatory message on the Paris Olympics official Instagram account on July the 27th. The post, meant to celebrate South Korean fencer Oh Sang-uk's gold medal win in the men's sabre individual event, misspelled his name as Oh Sang-gu. Although the error was corrected shortly after, it did little to quell the dissatisfaction. Some netizens even dubbed France as the China of Europe, thereby inferring its perceived arrogance and dismissiveness to that of China's controversial historical revisionism and cultural dominance. They argued that France, like China, seems to undermine other nations while boasting about its own cultural heritage. Well, that will do it for Inside Korea. We're going to take a song break. This is Good Life by Sweet California. We just listened to Good Life by Sweet California. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Nick here at 2 p.m. Reboot. The time is now 3:39 in the afternoon, and it's time for our next segment, which is Perfect Playlist. This is a segment that's run through Monday to Friday, and the name kind of gives it away, right? Perfect Playlist. Now, I know this is subjective. Everyone has a different preference on what is the perfect playlist, but hopefully this segment will give you some nice ideas. So do you need perfect songs for the perfect situation? Well, this segment, Perfect Playlist, it picks the best songs for every situation. Now, this week's theme is actually songs about the moon. The moon, 달, we all see that moon hanging up in the sky most nights, right? And there are lots of songs that are actually related to the moon. One of my personal favorites, it's not actually on the list, but one of my favorites anyway is Moon River, the one from Breakfast at Tiffany's, right? Andy Williams, that's it, Andy Williams, a classic song, and it's actually a really good 노래방 song because I can't sing, but this is a very low song, so I can kind of sing that one. But that's not on the list today. We've got a couple of great songs about the moon. The first song is Rocket Man by Elton John. Now, the inspiration for Bernie Taupin's lyrics, however, was the short story The Rocket Man, written by Ray Bradbury. The sci-fi author's tale is told from the perspective of a child whose astronaut father has mixed feelings at leaving his family in order to do his job. It was published as part of the anthology The Illustrated Man in 1951. The song can be interpreted as a symbol of how rock stars are isolated from their friends, family, and, other people in the real world by those with power in the music industry. So this song really is a metaphor of Rocket Man. It's not about a literal Rocket Man. If you haven't seen the movie, I totally recommend it. It's a great movie, a biopic of Elton John's life, and that's also called Rocket Man. But that'll be our first song for our perfect playlist. The second song, related to the moon, is a classic I'm sure many of you will enjoy. It's, of course, Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. Now, this song was written by Bart Howard in 1954 as In Other Words, and it was introduced on the cabaret circuit by Felicia Saunders. 2 years after Kay Ballard recorded the first commercial version of the song, Johnny Mathis released his rendition as Fly Me to the Moon. Now, in 1962, the composer Joe Harnell revived the song, giving it a bossa nova arrangement. His version peaked at number 14 in the US and actually won a Grammy for Best Pop Instrumental Performance. 2 years later, Frank Sinatra recorded the song with the Count Basie Orchestra arranged by Quincy Jones. Now, both of these songs are absolute classics by two legendary artists, and of course, like I mentioned, they're oldies but goldies, so if you like a bit of the older classics, I definitely recommend listening to them. We're going to listen to these two songs back to back. This is Rocket Man by Elton John, and following that will be Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra.
She packed my bag.
you.
Nothing beats a bit of Frank Sinatra, right? That was a double back-to-back. Elton John's Rocket Man and Frank Sinatra's Fly Me to the Moon. Two classic great songs related to the moon. And that was our perfect playlist. We were going over the perfect songs for the perfect situations. Now, I don't know in what situation you may want to find songs about the moon, but whenever I listen to these songs, I get this kind of, I know it's a bit cheesy, but it's a romantic feeling, right? The person you love, you want to fly them to the moon. Yeah, feel like a rocket man. I don't know where I'm going with this, but two great songs anyway for our perfect playlist. Well, the time is now 3:50 in the afternoon. We've got some messages coming in. We have Kim Joy-nim saying, "Hey, Nick. Glad to meet you again." Hello, Kim Joy-nim. It's great to see you. Thank you for coming in at this time. I'm just covering for Casey at the moment while he's away for a few things. I'll be here for a few days, so I look forward to talking with you and getting to know you all a bit more. And we also have today's text topic. And the question is, do you usually stay at home when you're sick? 네, 아플 때 주로 집에서 쉬나요? It's a very divisive question. Now we have, it's not that divisive, is it? But we have Neil-님 messaging in saying, 아플 땐 매운 음식 먹고 땀 흘리는 게 최고 같네요. 시원하고 기분이 좋아집니다. 아마 한국인이면 다 비슷하지 않나요? Yeah, spicy food is probably a very good idea. You know, you feel like you're sweating out all of the toxins, right? I know when I'm sick, I do love to sweat things out. I love to sleep, and I just like to kind of mong here. I love to just do nothing, maybe watch a bit of TV. Thank you everyone for your messages, and thank you for messaging in. The time is now 3:51 in the afternoon. We got to start wrapping things up. Tomorrow I will be back for Thursday. I'll be covering Casey again. So come say hi, come say hello, participate in the show. It's going to be another great day. And on that note, we're going to wrap things up. I've been your host, Nick. Thank you very much for listening. This is All My Love by Led Zeppelin. See you tomorrow.